first it was, okay, where are we going to get sugarcane? And I didn't want to start with something that had already been processed, because I figured that'd be too easy, you know, like that's really not the point. My produce guy, Patrick, was able to locate some, and he brought in 2 bunches, which I thought would be enough, and it was, because it was about 10 5-foot stalks of, or canes, I guess they would be called. You have to get a saw and cut them down into manageable pieces, and then a very sharp knife, and start to peel off the outside. So my cooks, one of my sous chefs is from Jamaica, and he's like, oh, I used to work in a sugarcane field, and I was like, really? He's like, oh, everybody does. But as I'm peeling off the outside, one of my cooks come by, and he says, man, my dad used to hit me with those things. So the idea was to take some of this, let it dry out, and then I'm going to utilize some of it in a smoker, and just to lightly smoke the scallops before we sear them. And but I wanted to see, because it's really, really juicy. I don't know if, this has been sitting out all night, so I don't know if we'll get anything, but you got a little drop. Sweet. And these are going to be for our cocktail that we make later. And I cooked this with just chilies, basil, cilantro, and sugarcane. This is the one I cooked for 8 hours. So I juiced some of it, and immediately it started to oxidize. I mean, in a big dose, it's, you know, in a big dose, it's kind of murky. But once again, this is pure, raw, that I got out of the juicer and out of the grinder. And I did some garlic chive flowers, a little bit of basil buds, and some chilies. I went a little overboard on the chili, so it might be crazy spicy. The flesh is, has a nice savory sweetness to it, but it's got an earthy quality to it. During the peeling process, I came across some red patches, and asked Rio what those were, and he said it's whenever it starts to ferment on its own. So I cut out some of those red pieces and started eating that, and it was even sweeter. But it's still a little, we'll see what happens. You know, I'm not sold on this part of the dish, but if I could harness a little bit of that sweetness into barely a solid, you know, it would be kind of cool. So I did just a little bit, you know, enough to coat each scallop. I'm gonna drop this in. Oh, Rhea, did you come for your sugar cane? You come down for it? Here you go. You can have fun with it.
Thank you very much, man. I'll take care of it.
I washed it for you. So I'm gonna take this and emulsify it. So we got a little bit of oil, extra virgin going in. We have a little xanthan to try and hold it a little bit. I didn't want to, once again, I didn't want to add any egg or mustard. So we'll just try and keep a nice suspension on it. So I did these at 120 for 15 minutes. This was 140 for 6 minutes. You can feel the difference. This one looks like it absorbed more of the juice. This is a little bit more firm, like it kind of denature a little. Kind of cool. A bit of salt on the smoked scallop. Kind of that sugarcane juice caramelized on the outside. So.
Why did you choose those vegetables?
Because my farmer just brought them last night. It's the prettiest squash. They're so flavorful. We've got our broth. So we have our sugarcane cachaça, Chicago made, with the Chicago stars on it, Malort. They're not quite as big as Michael Carlson's shots. We took our our fermented sugarcane, ground that into a dust, down the hatch.
Taste the sugarcane?
I can taste the sugarcane. Those little pockets of grated sugarcane add a nice texture. The chili comes through, very mild. I think it's pretty good. I chose this item that I got from a forager here in Chicago that's called a mountain ashberry. It's from the ash tree. There's another trick in finding something, a relatively new ingredient that we can utilize and introduce into our pantries and into our kitchens. So I thought it was kind of cool.